Today's daf is daf Chavav. We are going to begin on daf Chafei Amud Beis by the Mishnah on the bottom. I would like to thank my son Menachem, who's in 4th grade, for helping me prepare today's Amud. Zog the Mishnah. Matzah begal uvekesel yoshin. If somebody found a lost item in a heap of stone rubble or in an old wall. So what's the din? Ha'elu shalei. These belong to him. Why? Because we say that the owner was miyayish of the lost item, and therefore it belongs to him. And the Gemara is going to explain exactly what case we're talking about. Matzah bekesel chadash. Now, if a person found an aved, a lost item, in a new wall, so the halacha is like this: mechetze v'lachutz, from midpoint and onwards. So the din is, and we're talking about that the wall was next to the Reshus Harabim. So from the half of the wall, midpoint and onwards, they belonged to him, because we say that somebody from the Reshus Harabim put it there, and it was miyayish. So now, when you found it, it belongs to you. However, mechetzi v'lefnim, from midpoint and inwards, shel balabayis, it belongs to the homeowner. Because we say the balabas put it there and he hid it there. Now, if the homeowner would rent out the house to others on a regular basis and there was a steady turnover of residents, habayis, even if the lost item was found inside the house, we say it belongs to him, because since the balabas of the lost item cannot be identified based on the location, we say he certainly was miyayish. So the Mishnah taught that if a person lost items either in a heap or a rubble, in an old wall, belongs to him. The Bryce explains because the one who found it can say to the homeowner of the heap or the wall, he can say that they belong to Amirim, who live in Eretz Yisrael before they conquered Eretz Yisrael, and therefore somebody were from Amirim. For adding more to the obvious question, are only Amirim who lived in Eretz Yisrael before it was conquered, they are the ones that hide, but a Yid won't use a hiding place to hide things? For sure not. Perhaps it was the balabas who placed the item in the wall or the heap, and therefore you're chayiv l'hachlis. So the more answers what the Mishnah means to say, we're talking about a case, the shasach today, it was extremely rusted. Now, the fact, like Rashi explains, the fact that it was very rusty, it indicates that it had been left there for a long time. The Mishnah teaches weiter, if it found in a lost item in a new wall, from the midpoint and onwards, belongs to him. But from midpoint and inwards, shabalabais belongs to the homeowner. Rashi says, now, how do you know that the determination is as follows? Sakina basar kata, the determination of the homeownership, of the ownership with regards to a knife found in a wall, follows the handle. The kisa and the determination of the ownership with regards to a money pouch, basar shnitze, follows the laces at the opening of the pouch. In other words, like this: if the handle or laces face inwards, they belong to the homeowner. If the handle or laces face outwards, they belong to the finder. Ask the Gemara, but now the question is, maslis tiktani, but our Mishnah was teaches. Our Mishnah says that if a person lost an item in a new wall, so from its midpoint and onwards, it belongs to him, and from its midpoint and inwards, it belongs to the balabas. So now the question is, let us see, instead to determine ownership, let us see if the handle faces inwards or the handle faces outwards. If its straps face inwards or the straps face outwards. So the answer must listen be donor the nechasa. The Mishnah is referring to a case where one found rags or metal strips. Tana was taught, if the hollow of the wall was filled with lost items, for example, coins, the balabas, the din is, so if the wall was filled, this new wall was filled with lost items, for example, coins, So then the din is chelkin balabos and the father divide them. What if Pshita? Obviously they divided. So the answer is the mishapa bechad gisa. It's teaching us of a case where the hollow in the wall is inclined towards one side of the wall. So Ma'al the Tema, you would say that the items were initially on the elevated side, and it was due to the incline that they slipped and filled the entire space. Therefore, it teaches us that nevertheless they divided. The Mishnah said, if the balabos would rent the house to others on a regular basis, and there was a steady turnover of residents, the halacha is that even if the aveda was found in the house, belongs to him. Why do they belong to the finder? Let us follow the last right and determine that he is the owner of the item. Did we learn in the Mishnah? If with regards to money that was found before animal merchants in Yerushalayim, it's always assumed to be Meiser Sheni, as most of the animals purchased in Yerushalayim were bought with Meiser Sheni. Allah applies both during the Yom Tif and throughout the year, as people will typically purchase animals for meat with Meiser Sheni. Bahar Abayis, if the money was found on Har Abayis, Chulin, it is Chulin. It's not Halik. This halacha applies even during Yom Tif, when people would come to Yerushalayim with Meiser Sheni money in hand, as it can be assumed that one who entered the Har Abayis had already spent the money and had only Chulin money left in his possession. Now, Obid Yerushalayim, and coins that were found elsewhere in Yerushalayim, halacha is Azay. B'shayim Meis during the rest of the year, Chulin is considered a Chulin. The Shas Haregel, but if the money was found during the festival, Hakil Meiser, when many people would come to Yerushalayim with their Meiser Sheni money, all the money is presumed to be Meiser Sheni. V'omer of Mishmayim Zayda, Zayda explains, my time, what's the reason that during the rest of the year, the money is considered Chulin even on during the Yom Tiv, since the markets of Yerushalayim would be cleaned every day. Any money left there would already have been found in the streets. So, therefore, any money found there must have been left there recently. Alma Amrinan Kama Asli Bahanechinino. So apparently, what do we see from here? That each of the first coin is gone, and these coins are other ones. In other words, they were left there after the conclusion of Yontif. So Al-Hanami here too, with regards to an Aveda in a rented house, why not say that the items belong to Kama Ozol? Each of the first renters are gone, and Bahani the Baslihu, and these items belong to the last renter. So the question is, why not just say that the last renter, let's look at the last person who rented it, let's look at the booking, and whoever rented it last, that's what the Aveda belongs to. The Mishnah is talking about a case that the item belongs to the finder, is referring to a case where the homeowner rendered his house an inn for 3 Eden. Since it's unclear to which of them the item belonged, so we say the balabas despairs of his recovery. Now, the Mishnah previously raised a shaila with regards to the halacha stated by Rav Shimon Elazar that a lost item found in a location frequently by the multitudes belong to its finder. Is the halacha according to this ruling? Moreover, it is ruling specifically with regards to the location with Reiv Goyim, or it is even applicable in location with a Jewish majority. Shema halacha of Shimon Elazar, afilu b'Reiv Yisrael. We can conclude from here the halacha is with the opinion of Shimon Elazar, even a location with a Jewish majority. Now, the Gemara says, no. No. The Mishnah is referring to a case where he rendered his house an inn for 3 goyim. According to that explanation, perhaps Rav Shimon Elazar issued his psak specifically in a case where Reiv goyim are there. He says like this: even if you say that the owner rented his house or made his house as an inn for 3 Yidden, one cannot learn that Rav Shimon Elazar issued his ruling even in an area with a majority of Yidden. Why my time? What is the reason that the item belongs to the finder? Because the person from whom the item despairs, the person of whom the item fell, despairs of its recovery. Because the person who lost the item says, now, no other person with me here, only those residents in the inn. Amari kamayu kama zimni lahadurli. Now, no other person was with me here, only the residents of the inn. And they did not return it to me. And likewise, that now they're going to return it. If their intention was to return the item, they would have already returned it to me. And the fact that they did not return it to me, it's mashma, their intention is to steal the item from me. Rav Nachman goes according to his reason. Rav Nachman says, Ra Sela, if one saw a Sela coin, daf vav amud base, shenafal iftaim, that fell from one of two people, chayiv la'aser is obligated to return it. My time, what's the reason? Hahu the nafal minei lo miyayish, because the person from whom the Sela fell does not miyayish of him. And Meimar Amar, person whom the Sela fell does not, because he says, no other person was with me, only the one was with me, and he's unaware that the Sela was found by a third party. Alahai, so therefore Nakita leva minalei antu the shakalti. Therefore thinks I will seize him and say to him, it is you who took it. Now, B'shleisha, in a chayav la'aser, in a case where the coin fell from one of three people, the finder is not obligated to return it. My time, what's the reason? Because the person who the money fell certainly is miyayish, certainly despairs of recovering. Because he says, after all, two other people were with me. In Akita Lai Amar, if I seize this one, he will say, I didn't take it. And Akita Lai Amar, and if I go to the second guy, he's going to say, I didn't take it. So since he cannot make a definitive claim, he's miyayish of recovering his coins. Amar Rava. Now, based on the fact that the halacha of Torah, one must return a lost item to its owner only if it's worth one pruta. Amar Rava says like this: this that we say that in a case where the coin fell from one of the three people, the finder is not obligated to return it. We said this only in the case where the total value of the lost coin, when divided by the three, does not amount to the value of one pruta for each and every one of them. But if the amounts to the value of the one pruta for each and every person, one of them, is a pruta, so then he has to return it. My time was the reason, because they say that perhaps they are partners, they own the coin jointly, and they did not dispute, as each assumes that one of the other two found it and is holding off on three of them. There are those who say, says, that even if the total value is only two prutas, which is insufficient to provide each of the three partners with a pruta, he has to return. My time was the reason. We see that perhaps they are partners, and one relinquished his share to another. In that case, the remaining two shutfin each have a pruta share, and rendering the finder to return it. Rabbi says, Ra Sela Shenafla, in a case where one saw a Sela coin that fell from another, if he took the coin in order to steal it before the owner was miyayish, so he violates, first of all, Mishum Le'Sizel, you should not rob, Mishum Pasha Tishavim, and you shall return to your brother, Mishum Le'Suchel Salim, and also due to Yemina disregard, and Ubafagav, the Hadri Lachayush, and even if you returned it after the use of the owner, Atano the Yoyavli, is merely a gift that he gave him, is sure the Ovid and the Ovid. The transgression that he performed, and he remains in violation of these mitzvahs. Rama continues, if he took the coin in order to return it before the despair of the owner, and then after the despair of the owner, this guy wants to steal it, he's over on his return. If he waited until the owner despaired at recovering the lost item and only then took it, so in Ever only Shum Le'Suchel Salam Avad, he's over only Suchel Salam. Amar Rabbi says, "Hayman the chazi the nafal chuzi mechabre beichlasav ashkichem b'shakli." In the case of this person who saw that a dinner fell from the owner into the sand, and he then found it and took it. He's not obligated to return it to the owner. My time was the reason. Because the person whom the one he fell is miyayish. Even if the finder sees the owner brought a sifting through the sand, indicating that he's not miyayish. Why? Because he says, just as a coin fell from me in the sand, so too the coin fell from another person. I will find some item to offset my loss. Next Mishnah. If one found items without a siman in a store, these items belong to him. Since the store there's a lot of people over there, the owner is miyayish of its covering. If the items were found between the storekeeper counter and the storekeeper, belongs to the storekeeper. Since the customers do not typically have access to the area, we say it belongs to the chenveni. If it's found before the money changer, it belongs to him. If it's between the chair and the money changer, say it belongs to the money changer. If one who purchases produce from another, or in a case where another sent him produce as a gift, what's been was that he found coins intermingled with the produce, it belongs to him. The coins were bundled, takes the coins and proclaims this fine. Amar Rabbi Elazar says, even if the coins were found placed upon the table itself, it belongs to the finder. So now we learned in the Mishnah. Gemara says, we learned in the Mishnah, if one found coins before a money changer, it belongs to him. It's just mashma It's mashma if it's upon the table, it belongs to the money changer. And we say, let's look at the end of the Mishnah. Which is mashma. Rather, because of this contradiction, we cannot learn anything out from here. And Rabbi Elazar himself, from where does he know this halacha that coins found on the table belong to the finder, given that apparently one cannot learn this rule from the Mishnah? The Mishnah is difficult for him. Why are you teaching between the kisi and the shulchani belongs to the shulchani? Listen to ala shulchan. Why not teach on the table? Inami or matzah b'shulchan is tani reishon. The same matzah b'chan shulay. Even if the coins were placed upon the table, it belongs to him. If one purchases produce from another and he found coins intermingled with the produce, these coins belong to him. If in a case one purchased produce from a merchant who acquired the produce from several suppliers and is unable to determine the source of the coins. But in the case of one who purchases produce from a balabas, he has to return. Last part, but as the owner threshed the grain himself, his workers threshed the grain, and the coins could belong to one of them. Amarle Espaya. Tana said to Rav Nachman, based on the difficulty he raised, should I delete it from the collection of the brises? Don't delete it. Rather, translate that the grain was threshed by the Knani slave or the maidservant, and therefore any coins found intermingled with the produce belong to the Baal Habas.